Ever since I found out that you can actually use your credit card as your new check account, it opens up a lot of doors that you never knew existed. You're paying down your debt so much faster, and I know a lot of you can relate to this, but I want to share with you how this is possible and why it's necessary in the 21st century. Listen, before we get into that, I want you to like, share, and subscribe so that everyone around the world can know the power of velocity banking. Listen, folks, we were taught this, okay? Growing up, we had an income of, let's say, $5,000, right? We had an expenses, right? Expenses, but this is how they taught us. We gotta make sure our expenses go like this. You better have something for the savings account. And they said it better be substantial because, rainy days, emergency fund, college, yada, 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 right? Well, this is how they taught us to divide or segregate up our income, all right? They said, go ahead and give some towards the credit cards, all right? Go ahead and give some towards the mortgage, all right? Perhaps you have, that's right, a car loan. So an auto loan, all right? And then, of course, you've got your lifestyle expenses. You need groceries and all of that, okay? So we're just going to go ahead and have that labeled as life. But the thing about that is, was that the best way to use the finances that came in? Because at the end of the day, what did we do to this $5,000? We started shrinking it, didn't we? And when you are in an accumulation mindset, meaning you're only focused on accumulating, you're not really focused on cash flowing at all because you don't have a business, you weren't taught to have a business, you weren't taught about investing, you're dividing up your income, which means and leaves you at a cash flow of zero at the end of every month. And by the way, sometimes you're less than zero on many months, leaving you out in the cold. Because let's face it, negative $50, right? Or negative 50 anything is cold, right? Very cold, very frozen. So what I want to do is I want to share with you a concept that was shared with me, and perhaps it can resonate with you, perhaps not. I just want you to think of, especially in this critical season that we're in, we've got to get out of the 19th century way of banking and into the 21st century because, well, it's the 21st century, all right? So here we have our line of credit. Now, it doesn't have to be a line of credit, all right? It can be a checking account. It can even be a savings account. The main thing here is I want you to think of your money in another way versus the way they taught you to think of their money. Because this is octopus right here, grabbing at your expenses, grabbing at your money, and you have none at the end of the month. What if, right, you've got a $10,000 line of credit, okay? And instead of doing what they want you to do, which is segregate it all out. I mean, you've got it coming in your emails. You've got it coming in your regular mail. I mean, you're coming from all angles. You answer your phone, they're wanting your money. So instead of doing this, segregating, why don't we consolidate instead? What about consolidation over segregation? Remember, segregation left you at a cash flow of zero. Let's see what happens when we consolidate, shall we? So let's put the $5,000. You still have the mortgage. You still have the credit card, the auto, and the life. We didn't subtract any expenses from that, folks. Okay? We didn't. What I want you to do is I want you to place, because you used your line of credit. So let's say that's a balance, okay, of 10,000. So this over here is the balance. And you got a minimum monthly payment of, let's say, $400 each month, okay? Seeing that you have this balance in that minimum monthly payment, and you're going to be paying that minimum monthly payment each and every month, Instead of putting the $5,000 into the segregation account where it gets divided all up, how about this? How about we reroute our $5,000, okay, over here to where we got one of the biggest balances. And that subtracts it down to $5,000 balance. Now, let's say you have a $4,000 expense, all right? And it fluctuates up and down. Of course, we can leave room for fluctuation. So $4,000 in expenses. Can you spend from your line of credit? Can you? And let's say that balance was at 20%. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. But what I want you to remember is this. This $400, you don't have to worry about. Why? Because you paid $5,000. And you see, the bank counts that as a payment, all right? But we know it as a transfer. So because we transferred that $5,000 over there to the line of credit, this $400 goes where? Our pocket. So watch me transform this zero, okay, into $400. You see how I did that? You can do it too, all right? Put a 4 in front of that zero and then add a 0 at the end. And because we are using our finances like this, I want you to do something else. You never have to worry about that credit card payment again, because you're using your money in a different way. Do you see how I did that? Let me recap just quickly, okay? That $5,000 is now going into the line of credit. When you pay $5,000 and they're saying that you have a minimum payment of $400 each month, do you owe any money on this card? Do you owe any money on this line of credit? The answer is no. That's why the $400 goes to our cash flow. Does that make sense? Okay, all right. When we do this, is it easier, right, to pay these different ones, okay? Because we have the expenses coming out of our line of credit instead of the checking account. Or if you're using your checking account, you have it in a way to where that $1,000 is staying within that checking account. It's staying within that line of credit, paying it off. I just use the line of credit because I want it to report to the credit bureaus, right? Because we have a chance at making this number go where? Up, okay? That's what we want to do. All right, so we're having the line of credit, right? The auto and the life. And of course, you can actually pay the mortgage from your line of credit as well. And guess what? When you are on the line of credit, you have that new checking account, guess what? You have an automatic savings built in because that $1,000 is staying right there and it's paying off that line of credit. Now remember why you got the line of credit, okay? You got the line of credit not to consume, okay? You didn't buy it for the J's. You didn't buy it to get another purse. You didn't buy it to get another Amazon anything. You, okay, got the $10,000 to invest in land, to invest, all right? To decimate your loans. And that's why you got it, remember? Because when that $10,000 hits a $30,000 loan, that $30,000 goes down to $20,000, and that cash flow has the opportunity to come to you much, much, much quicker. Why? Because we're erasing the principal. And when we erase the principal, we've erased the interest. That's right. Banks have an interest in you paying longer and longer. But when $10,000 goes towards it, right? When you put down that $10,000 towards that payment on that loan, you start getting rid of those loans much quicker. But you know, when you're out of debt, did you know that you're still at ground zero? And when you're at ground zero, what can you do then? You can then build, which is why you need to get into real estate investing. Now, folks, you and I both know that that is the primary way of building wealth. If you have any questions on that, just let me know. Think about it, okay? Think about where your money is going, and if you can afford to continue to be on the bank's teaching. Remember, the bank is who taught you how to save, right? How to pay everything. Now it's time to get taught what the bank does, and that is using debt as leverage. Folks, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact me. God bless you, and we'll see you in another video.